Hello guys, and welcome back to another video covering AP CSA, and today we'll be covering Unit 9, which is Super and Subclasses. My name is Tianlin Cheng, and you can also call me Rain. And today we'll be covering creating superclass and subclasses, writing constructor and overriding method for superclasses and subclasses, creating references using inheritance hierarchy, and polymorphism. And first of all, what is an inheritance? In programming, inheritance is a fundamental concept in object-oriented programming that allows us to create new classes based on existing classes. It enables us to define a relationship between classes and reuse code, promoting code organization and modularity. And in this case, class B would be a subclass of class A, as shown in the diagram in the bottom right, and class C would be a subclass to both class B and class A. And in the third example, class B and class C are both subclasses of class A, but they are not subclasses of each other. And so superclasses and subclasses. Inheritance is based on the relationship between superclasses, which are also called parent classes, and subclasses, which can also be referred to as child classes. Subclasses not only inherit characteristics from the superclass, which is its parent class, but also can add or modify their own attributes and behaviors. And to indicate a inheriting relationship, the keyword extend must be used in Java to establish an inheritance relationship. So if the parent class is class A, we'll first create a public class A, and then we'll create another class B, which it goes by public class B extends class A, indicating that it's a subclass of class A. And now constructors in inheritance. The super keyword can be used in inheriting classes to call constructors in parent classes. In the example given, the parent class is class animal, and the subclass is class cats, which extends animals. And a cat object has been created by calling the animal constructor, providing it with a gender while making the instance variable sound meow. So in this case, the animal will have the private variable called string gender, and its constructor contains only one parenthesis, which is string g, gender. However, the subclass cats, although only contains one string g, but when the constructor is called, it will activate the super keyword, which calls the constructor in class animal, and specifically the one with only one parenthesis string g to set gender equal to g, and also setting the instance variable meow, to meow. So a subclass not only can call constructor in the parent classes, but can also inherit the private instance variables and also have its own instance variables and set them at will. And now, just like how in the last slide, the subclass can override constructors of the parent class, subclasses can also override methods of the parent class. Subclass can override methods inherited from the superclass to provide their own implementations. By naming a method inside its class the same name as the method that it wants to override, this new method can be ran instead of the overridden one. So for example, class B is the subclass of class A. So if a object called rain, which is my name, is of class B is created, and method 1 in the example is called, instead of returning A as a object of class A would when method 1 is called, B will actually be printed instead of A. as the method has been overridden. So when a class B object called method1, it prints B instead of A. And now one of the harder concepts of this unit, polymorphism, which can be simple or hard for depending on how well you understand this topic, because sometimes it can be pretty hard to interpret. And what polymorphism means is that if a object of class A is declared as object of class B, and when this object method is called, it will first check if the class A have such a method, and if the class A does not have. And now to give an honest reflection of how well you've understood this unit, I have chosen a question for you to answer. I encourage you to answer this question by yourself, or at least attempt it by yourself, and try to receive an answer. We'll then be going through the code together, tracing through each line to help you understand how this problem works. So, but first attempt it yourself by pausing the video. And now I assume that you have already attempted the question by yourself, and I'll start tracing through this problem. The first thing that I realize when I see an object of class base is declared as derived class is that I realize that this problem is testing you on polymorphism. And so what polymorphism tells us is that the system will first check whether base B, a base class, would contain method 1, because the question calls b.method1, and in which case it does. So then it will check whether the derived class contains method 1, in which case it does. So then it will check if method 1, it will then run the method 1 under the derived class. So in which case it will super method 1, which means that we'll call method 1 under its superclass, which is class base. So as a result, A is printed due to the command system.print A, and then method 2 will be called. However, because this base object is declared as derived class, method 2 will not be called under class base, but instead under class derived. So though is still, and so the first line that compiles would be super.method2, in which case we'll print the character B and then the character D. So after all of these were ran, the character C would then be printed. So in this case, the correct answer should be A, B, D, C. So the correct answer is A. And here are my credits. These are very useful websites that I used during my experience learning CSA, and thank you for watching the video.